My Hero Academia is an amazing series that has swept over the anime community like a broom. Only a blubbering fool such as myself would deny that its stellar success is due to its near-perfect world-building, characters, and plot structure. However, there are admittedly a few glaring humongous holes in this otherwise beautifully done anime, and today I'm going to reveal the top 9 most grievous plot holes. First, we'll start with the beloved Class 1A students and their utterly inconvenient and nonsensical quirks. The one regarded by many as Class 1A's best girl, obviously only based on her sweet personality and intelligence and nothing else, Yayoi. She is perhaps one of the biggest plot holes in My Hero Academia, as she breaks the basic laws of this chemistry she claims to hold so dear. So, the law of conservation of matter states that matter cannot be created or destroyed, only transformed. Sure, all good here, because Horikoshi-sensei has assured us that she uses the fat in her body to create all of her creations, right? Wrong! Let's do the math here. Based on her generous height, Yayoi is probably somewhere between 125 and 158 pounds. But based on the size of her brain, she is probably on the heavier side of that spectrum, so we'll round up to 160 pounds or about 72.6 kilograms. So if the average female athlete has about 14 to 20% body fat, again, we'll put Yayoi on the higher end of the spectrum because of her brain, since the brain requires lipids to function properly. So let's pretend that comes out to about 14.52 kilograms of fat in her entire body, including her brain. Okay, now, her most iconic creation is obviously the cannon, complete with a cannonball. Now, the cannonball alone is about 5.5 kilograms, probably, so that's already 37.9% of all the available material in her body. And you're telling me that the rest of the cannon isn't more than 9.07 kilograms, Horikoshi-sensei? I'm not sure I believe it. That, and you're telling me that she wouldn't need to use any of the fat in the organ that is mostly fat? Her brain, which is about 60% fat? Clearly, she's creating material right out of nothing. Laws of chemistry shirked. Not to mention that the atoms contained in your average lipids are carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, and sometimes nitrogen and phosphorus. But you're telling me she formed some heavy metals out of those atoms? Don't base a quirk off of chemistry if you're not going to follow its most basic rules. Unless you're saying that Yayoi understands the structure of the atom and can rearrange each nucleus when we're still not even sure what makes an electron tick. Yeah, right. Yaoyorozu's looking full of holes. First on the chopping block is everyone's favorite King of Darkness, Toku Yami himself. If you listen carefully to his voice, he has perfect pronunciation of his M's and P's. This is a massive plot hole, as he clearly has no lips, despite his apparent possession of teeth, even though real birds don't have teeth. Can you make a proper M or P sound without lips? No. Plus, how can he drink anything without lips? Does he air sip everything? Huh? The invisible nudist, Hagakure. She is the last person who should become a hero, despite her obviously amazing idea of running into battles butt naked. Since she is invisible, it follows that her insides are invisible, correct? Otherwise, we'd see all her veins and blech. So, first of all, if she has an injury as simple as a paper cut or a horrid rash, she'll never know what it looks like. An important cue in determining the severity of her affliction. If she is in her battle uniform in the field and gets knocked out or is bleeding out on the ground, unable to speak, no one will ever know or come to her aid. Instead, Her invisible corpse will rot in the streets until someone accidentally steps on her or deeply investigates that horrible stench. Unfortunately, I now have to go after everyone's real favorite waifu, the one we're all tired of seeing horny posts about, Aizawa himself. This is a guy who claims to do everything out of logic, right? He doesn't wash or shave unless the media is going to project him everywhere, sleeps wherever it suits him, is one of the few pro heroes who actually looks comfortable in his costume, and claims that tricking the students into doing better by pretending to threaten to crush their hopes and dreams is just a logical ruse. But if he's so logical, why doesn't he cut his hair? Not just because it might be easier to take care of if he were bald, but also because it totally gives away when he's using his quirk by floating. And Shigaraki was able to figure it out at the USJ attack. Shigaraki, a novice villain who's not exactly what you'd call a freaking mastermind, especially that early in the series. Aizawa was nearly killed, all because of his revealing hair. After the USJ incident, he should have cut his hair because of his logic. Clearly, a plot hole. Next, we have the Pussycats, who are named Pixie Bob, Mandalay, Ragdoll, and Tiger, and whose quirks are manipulating dirt, telepathic communication, keeping track of people, and stretchiness? The plot hole is glaring us all in the face. There is literally no reason for them to be called the Pussycats except to pander to my catgirl fetish. You thought we wouldn't notice that you didn't even bother to give them cat-based quirks, huh, Horikoshi-sensei? Well, think frickin' again. Plot hole. Not even the number 2 hero himself is innocent of perpetuating a plot hole. Check out all these scenes in Endeavor's house. Does anything seem off to you? Duh, Endeavor is abusing and threatening his house. Clearly, his house is an old-style Japanese house made mostly of wood and other plant-based materials, aka firewood. He walks around his house literally on fire, but hasn't managed to burn it down yet? And not a fire extinguisher in sight. Plot hole. And of course, we'd expect villains to make holes in the plot. Shigaraki's father is obviously a huge plot hole. How does this severed hand stay attached to his face, huh? The muscles that control the grip strength of the hand are located in the forearm, which is clearly absent here. You might be saying, well, Casey, obviously it's rigor mortis that's keeping it in place, but you're wrong. First of all, in order to stay firmly on Shigaraki's face, that would mean it's stiffened, gripping a generally face-shaped object slightly smaller than Shigaraki's head, and the fact that it can relax and re-grip Shigaraki's face just shows. This hand is a huge gaping plot hole. Even the 2 best characterized and best written villains in the entire series, Stain and Toga, are guilty of a singular plot hole: the discovery of their quirks. Why would anyone decide to eat blood in order to discover their quirk in the first place? They would definitely not be able to discover their quirks for a long time, if ever, because if the grossness of eating other people's blood doesn't stop them, a basic sex education lesson from middle school should. Exchange of bodily fluids, such as blood, can also be exchange of disease and infection, sometimes even lethal ones. How many STIs and other bloodborne diseases do these 2 have by now, huh? But the bigger plot hole is that pro heroes still go after them at all. Don't bother. Their syphilis and hepatitis will get to them first. And finally, the most massive plot hole of all. 13. Why are they a plot hole? Because they're a black hole, and therefore they are the most massive hole in the entire series. But they're also the smallest plot hole, because black holes aren't really holes at all, but an infinite amount of mass being drawn towards a singularity with a radius of 0. By being both the most massive and the smallest hole, 13 is My Hero Academia's biggest plot hole. So those are my top 9 most offensive plot holes in My Hero Academia. Tell me all of the plot holes that you spotted in the comments. Bonus points if you can find plot holes in this video. So thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Click the like button and the subscribe button for more videos like this, and I will see you next time. Goodbye!